for another video ahead of the coaching symposium with Matt Bradbury Sports in a few weeks' time. Delighted to say that today we are joined by Davey Lawrence, who has had an extremely long career in and around the sport. Davey, thanks for taking time out to chat to us this morning.
No problem, anytime.
So just quickly, for some who might not be aware of your career, what made you, when you were a young boy, decide that you wanted to be the one that got in the way of the puck hurtling towards you and putting your glove down among all the skates and the sticks?
I guess just typical, same old scenario as most people, really. Mum and Dad took me to watch an hockey game at Sheffield Steel, as it would have been, in their very early days. And then just loved it from there, really. Went on an hockey school. I started as a player on the Monday. I were a goalie by Friday because they had no goalie for the game. And then it just kind of spiralled from there, really. All the way through academy at Sheffield, in the old rink at Queen's Road under Craig Webster, and then as they transitioned over to EIH Sheffield, that's when my career kind of went upwards, I guess, if you want to say that. And I started with Sheffield, Telford, Basingstoke, did a little bit with Romford and Cardiff as well.
And the Great Britain your junior system as well, averaging roughly around two and a bit a game and around 900 save percentage.
Yeah, a good few years spell. I think over there, three years, maybe four, 18s and 20s. We managed to capture a gold in Lithuania when I were an underage, so like a first year 20. So that was a good experience. But yeah, all part of it.
Matt, we say that goaltenders are kind of a different breed, really, don't we, around ice hockey? I mean, you've obviously coached a vast number of them as well. What does make them very different to the rest of the team?
Well, I suppose they carry a lot of burden. When everything's going wrong in the team, it's the easiest person to blame on the ice, isn't it? That's probably the biggest thing. I think the forwards tend to blame the defense. The defense tend to blame the netminder, and then everybody looks at the guy with the pads and the catcher and the blocker. So it's probably one of the toughest jobs on the ice, and but definitely the most important part on the ice, because without solid netminding, then your team can't build that success. And it's going to be great to have Davey on board.
And Davey, how did you find it when you were growing up and training? Because netminders, there's in the match day squad, there's 2 out of 20, so they only make up 10% of the players, which means that when it comes to being coached as a junior, you might not have someone was a netminder, knows specifically about netminder coaching.
Yeah, it's difficult, I guess. I mean, times have changed a lot now, Chris, to what they were when I guess I came through. You never really had goalie coaches as such back then. It weren't really a thing that existed, I don't think, in terms of coaching. Certainly not at lower levels. But you also got a lot more opportunity back then in terms of the parameters that there are now, being able to play up and only being able to play up one age group and certain age restrictions and things like that. So you kind of got thrown in at deep end as a younger kid, especially around my era. And it wouldn't be uncommon for somebody to play up 1, 2, or maybe even 3 age groups. So I guess by consequence of that, you got to learn to deal with adversity quite quickly. Playing against a lot older guys and a lot stronger guys, quicker shooters, quicker skaters. And, not that I saw it as that then, but looking back on it now, it self-coach you a little bit, I think, in that respect.
Did you find then that if you would be playing in the older age groups, that then when you were in your proper age group, it almost seemed like it was in slow motion?
Yeah, I guess in some ways, certain things, I mean, I think I started playing senior. Well, the two of us, me and Jeff Woolhouse at Sheffield, I think we both started playing seniors at 13 or 14 years of age, I think, which you couldn't obviously do that now, but back then it was just a case of, there were so many goalies in that club, and if you were good enough, you just kind of bumped up and played where you could. So I guess it helped in the long run, but you maybe didn't see some of them short-term disadvantages to it either.
And Matt, we see a similar sort of thing still happening now. As our Nottingham Lions links, we had the training with Luca Sheldon and Matty Blory were backing up for the Panthers. Luca doing that again last year, and we all said we noticed the change when you've been training all the time with the professional players that are obviously very fast, shoot the puck very hard, to then go back to leagues down into NIHL 1. You could see the notable difference from that.
Yeah, most definitely. From the rubbing off, working with the professionals and being on the ice every day, that's ultra important. And then obviously we were fortunate at the time with Panthers having 2 important netminders, and Luca was getting that kind of opportunity. And I suppose that's something that Davey's working with some of the netminders. Obviously his role with the EIH and netminders across the program is important, but for me it's got to be that game time. Game time's the most important. And also, if you are getting the training, you are getting that kind of work with the pro teams, and you're coming back to work with a team, say in the second or third tier, then you've got to be putting up the stats, and you've got to be showing your worth and the skills and the techniques and the styles and game management that you're learning throughout the week with the pros.
Yeah, I mean, Davey, Matt, touched on it there, that game time is the most important thing, and so you work quite a bit with Leeds, and you head up the NTP goalie programs. Just tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, it's similar to what Matt said. I mean, sort of stuff I'm doing with Leeds, it's I'm just trying to progress each kid as much as I possibly can, and that's what I try to do with anybody that I work with. Really, it's not it's more done on an individual basis on terms of where that particular person's at and what their trajectory is, I guess, or what I see their trajectory to be, or they want it to be. The NTP things, it's a different side of things. Obviously, you're working within that organisation. There's certain parameters that you've got to stick to and not stick to, I guess. So it's challenging at times, but the main goal at the end of it is to try and get as many of these kids as we can through to senior hockey. And if their vision is to play pro, then that's where we want them to be. And the more that we can get through to that sort of level, it just allows us to be more successful on a national basis, whether that be England, GB, or whatever. And I obviously work quite closely with you and King from a GB perspective as well. So we discuss things on a regular basis. And reality is where we are now. There just isn't enough of them. Forgetting about the quality side of things for a minute, like there's just not enough goalies. I mean, you look at some junior clubs and they're running on 1 goalie per age group, if that, some of them. So it is a bit of a stumbling block at the minute, but it's something that we're working to try and improve. And how we're going to do that is still up in the air a little bit, but we are working behind the scenes to try and make that better.
So your chat at the Symposium is on Saturday morning, coaching and understanding netminders. Just without giving too much away about what you're going to be talking about, give us a general idea of the talk.
Yeah, so it's going to be loosely based around my own experiences, obviously, in terms of developing goalies and working with goalies, whether that be through practice and games. I see it being quite an interactive session in terms of the people that are there. It's not going to be sort of me standing there and preaching to the choir, so to speak. It'll be more, I'll be wanting people to get involved, and it'll be more of a discussion point, because I just think that the symposiums and stuff that I've attended and that I've been on Zooms for and things like that, they are very much one person at the front sort of talking to everybody and telling everybody how it should, how they feel it should be. And I just feel that, especially with goaltending, there's not there is right ways and wrong ways, but not particularly. And I think the more that you can get people involved with it and talk about it and come up with different solutions and different ideas. Like every time I do something, generally I learn something. So that's the kind of thing I want to portray across to these other people and coaches and stuff like that, is that you've got to kind of go with your gut and do what works. And sometimes that might be something that's not normal, and it might be something that's of the norm, so to speak.
Yeah, well, Davey, I know you've nipped out of work to chat to us, so won't keep you much longer. And Matt, this Friday is the cut-off for people to sign up should they need accommodation, and then the next Friday, the 28th, is the final cut-off to come and join the symposium. If people haven't already signed up, where do they go to do that?
Yeah, everything's online. www.mattbradburysports.com is the website. Through there, you'll find the links on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter X, and there's things on TikTok as well. We won't ask Davey about whether he's on TikTok. I know he watches TikTok, but I don't believe Davey's got a TikTok account, so that would be a wasted question. But yeah, so yeah, get in touch. Deadline's fast approaching, and it would be great to have as many more coaches on board as possible. We've got a great spread from around the country. And just to pick up a point on what Davey said there is about, going to the symposiums or the coaching conferences and just learning one or two things. With the vast amount of speakers we've got attending the symposium, I think the coaches will be really enriched and enlightened with the speakers we've got that are going to talk about their experiences and like Davey said, sharing their ideas with that kind of growth mindset as the most important thing there for the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. It's sure to be a great weekend. Davey, thanks so much for your time. We'll see you in a few weeks.
No problem. Thanks very much.